Heavy is the head that has to manage all of this.
Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel.
We're now incentivized to buy what we already buy.
Fumbling through college had me building.
I also got something done on the other side.
And that was right around, I would say, May, maybe, right before renewing the lease for this property.
Welcome to the channel, Martha.
Thank you for having me here.
Oh, I was going to say, I am getting up there and age, I'll tell you what.
Bills paid by other people, life was never this good. I had to step back, knowing that it's...
So we all know my story on the tenant that refused to leave. But we can get into better detail and understanding that now that it's been a little while since we've been removed from that situation. The tenant was over 40 years of age. Not that race matters, but they were Caucasian, and they were also battling a child dispute. So it was involving child care and financial responsibilities in that case. The child was 9 years of age at the time, and you know, I was aware of these things. I'm telling you this to let you know what I was aware of. So I was aware that there was a custody battle already ensuing that had been ongoing for 2 years. I was aware that the person did not have a job, but stated that they had 6 or 7 job opportunities lined up, plus a job fair that they were going to. At the time, in the state that I live in, it's very easy to get work. And also, this was rent by the room for a situation. And so I didn't foresee any financial difficulties in acquiring the monthly payment or the monthly rent for the month, being that at the time, it was no more than $700 a month. Now, understand that you can get a little naive when you don't have financial difficulties, such as myself. For example, we talked about my credit score. I've never seen my credit score under a 730 or a 740 for the most part, and it's always hovered around 780, and now it's even touched 806 at its highest. And so I've never really had any issues with credit, and so you never really see me talk about it or promote it or even mention it on Facebook posts or anything whatsoever, because it's just so common to me that it doesn't spark my interest or bring any attention, or so I don't bring any attention to it. But I've seen a lot of people post about credit recently and how they're improving on their credit score. And so I just figured that, you know, this might be a topic worth mentioning. And so you can see why I would assume that this payment would not be a big issue even if the individual wasn't working. But history always repeats itself, and there's processes in place for a reason. This is why people do the background checks. This is why people do a rental screening to ensure that they can pay 3x the rent or make 3x the rent, right? These are why these things are in place. And so I let go of one of the steps or requirements to be a renter, and therefore this person ended up folding. So what they did is they paid the first month, which is the deposit and move-in, and on the second month, they paid just a little bit extra, like $5 or $10 more, to go towards the month 3. At that time, that person, before month 3 even came about, they started to tell me that they were going to have financial difficulties paying in month 3. Now, this person is a veteran, a military veteran. So they were looking to get services from the military in order to support them and pay their housing costs for them. Now, I told the individual that I am more than happy to accept any payments from a government entity. However, this does not stop me from following the processes which are in place, which come with eviction, which means you have 5 days of being late prior to me filing for eviction. And so this person was aware of that, They didn't pay me on time, and so that eviction process started. Now, people can be petty. Men can be petty. I don't know what transpired within the marriage or relationship for the person to not want to work in order to not pay child support. But something obviously happened which forced this individual to say, you know what, I'm going to forego working. I'm going to rely on the government and the army essentially to pay me my little disability check and then also pay me to live. So they were looking for housing assistance, and I'm pretty sure they probably had food stamps or whatever else in order to get food. So this type of life, obviously you can survive, but you're not really living, and you're not really affording your child the best out of life. Now, we all know that child care and child support may not always go towards the child, but I would hope at least 12 months out of the year that some of it is going towards the child. And so there was a neglect to the child as well by just simply not wanting to work and do what's right by the child. So when we talk about growing up, I'm not saying grow up in a sense like, hey, you're a baby, but there does seem to be some sort of lack of accountability, right? You did raise a child. This is the law of the land. I'm not going to say that there's a lack of maturity there. I'll leave that up for you all to decide, but definitely a lack of accountability in the sense that, you know, based on the rules, based on the laws of the land, you're to pay this. And as a working adult who isn't necessarily retired because you claim to be looking for work, if you had told me you were retired, then that's a different story. But you're stating that you're claiming to look for work. And then when we have a conversation of, hey, what's going on with the jobs and why aren't you working? You state, I didn't tell you that I would get a job. So literally his words were, I didn't tell you that I was going to get a job right away. And so, like, what was the point of saying that you were looking for work just so that you can get in the door, then to flip and say, I didn't tell you I was going to get a job right away? Which, again, although I made the decision of bringing him in the first place without the possibility of being able to sustain his rent, the good thing is that I filed the eviction right away and I didn't waste any time. And so when the time did come for the eviction to take place, I was actually in Colombia, so I was in a whole nother state while the process started to pen and things like that. I faxed all the papers over via phone, and I got that process started. And I was super, super excited to get the process going and to get everything started. And, you know, he ended up moving out about 2 or 3 days before the sheriff would have had to come and kick him out. So, you know, we avoided having to get the sheriff involved, but I ended up paying a pretty penny for that, obviously. So, you know, always make sure you have your deposits in place, which I did, which is another good thing that I can check off my box. But then also make sure that, you know, obviously he wasn't going to pay me because he's not even paying his child. So you have to be aware of that. I didn't pursue to get reimbursed or my money back because I just knew that the chances of that was slim, and I would have to go after it myself, which was like, come on now, who wants to have to deal with all that for a couple $100? So for me, it was just best to let that bridge burn and set sail. And hopefully that individual is in a good space. Maybe they've come to terms with the life that they're going to be living. And maybe they've decided to take care of their responsibilities as an individual. But that's just my assessment of the situation. That's basically a year now removed. My neighbors had a lot of choice words for the individual, but me, I maintain neutrality, if that's a word. I just maintain neutral. I'm a neutral party in it all. Wish him the best, and I wish their family the best as well. But for anyone out there, what you can take away from this video is to live a life worth living. Don't sell yourself short because you're angry at someone else, and then you're only harming yourself in the long run. Ensure that you're living a life worth living for not only you, but for those that you put on this earth. If you like this video, make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. You know I post every single day at 8 a.m. daily on YouTube and on Rumble, and I can't wait to see you on the next one. Peace.